Right, hello everybody, and welcome back to 40 Runs Running Club TV and our series, our special series of Beneath the Bib. This is a series all about runners going behind the bib, literally, to find out a bit more about them, how they got into running, how they found the club, and just them in general and everything there is about their life. This specific episode is in conjunction with the long run, because this is going to go out on the long run podcast, because Malcolm, our special guest today, won a very special prize that was actually announced on the Long Run Show about a year and a half ago now. And we're going to talk about that a bit later on, what that was and how it all went. But let's not muck about or waste any time, because tonight I am joined by another absolute gentleman of the community, a top bloke. And I would like to welcome to Beneath the Bib, Malcolm. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, Hayden. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. So it's true to say, possibly, Malcolm is a bit more of a quieter member of the community, but one that everyone sort of knows. As soon as they get to know Malcolm, they're like, he's a lovely bloke, and he's highly spoken on by everyone. I actually, full disclosure here, I actually messaged Helen about 2 hours ago, and I said, because Helen from our Southend leader, she knows Malcolm really well. And I messaged her and said, I'd like to surprise him with something. Give me a little bit of dirt, give me a little bit of something that I can get from Malcolm. She was absolutely useless. She come back and just said, there's nothing. He's just an absolute nice bloke. He's a top bloke. There's nothing I can say about him. As she said, he's very domesticated. So that's about
maybe. I know how to use a microwave.
There you go. That's not a bad thing at all. But anyway, enough about that. We're going to get to know Malcolm. And as we start all these series, we're going to start with a very youthful and young Malcolm. We want to know about where you was brought up, what life was like in the early days, brothers, sisters, whatever you want to talk about, up until about leaving school, Mal. Tell us all about you. The floor's yours.
Okay, thank you. I was born in Croydon, so South London boy. Moved to Bromley when I was 3, and then moved over to Essex when I was 7. And I've been there pretty much ever since. I think at school I wasn't particularly good. But the one thing I could do was run. I was quick. I was naturally quick. So I was always in school football teams. I played for the Scouts. I played for the Sunday League team as well. So my poor old dad used to run me around, probably 3 games in a weekend. And in junior school, I would quite often get to sort of borough sports level. In sprinting, because as I say, I was pretty quick. So at the age of 11, I signed up to Southend Athletic Club and started sprinting with them. 100, 200, and the relays was what I used to concentrate on. Went through club stage, ran for the county, and my little claim to fame, but actually it's the start of a sort of process that led me into adulthood, is that at 16 I qualified for the 1986 Commonwealth Games.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow.
200
That's
meters.
Big.
Yeah.
What distance?
So 200 meters. I was 16 years of age.
Wow.
I say qualified because I never actually got to run. So in the trials, there were 2 other guys who you probably know the names of that beat me. I came 3rd in those trials. One was a chap called Linford Christie.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. No.
And the other one was a fella called John Regis.
Oh wow.
So that was my little claim to fame. So I was all right. I could do 200 at that time in 22 seconds. I held my own. But then just before the Commonwealth Games, I played in a football final, which I shouldn't have done. I've been playing for the same football team for 10 years? 10 years. It was going to be the last time I played for them, and against all the advice, I was told not to play, but I did. And a pretty bad tackle smashed my crew shirt. And that was my Commonwealth Games and running career done. I never ran again after that until later in life.
Oh, so that's not something little. I'm quite shocked by that. I'm not saying I wouldn't expect that of you, but out of all the Beneath the Bib so far, that's probably our biggest sort of celebrity claim to fame moment, without a doubt. That's fantastic. That's brilliant. So you literally started playing football, you got the cruise ship, so you just gave up the sprinting as well because of it all, I suppose.
Yeah. And at that time, we're talking, 1986. I don't think people took probably the right amount of notice with mental health. It affected me in a big way. Got an awful lot of criticism, and rightly so, because I had an opportunity to go and do something a bit special, and my own daft actions stopped that. But yeah, it was a lot of criticism came from that. The club, family, friends. Yeah, so that was the start of a bit of a different journey for me.
That's a bit harsh, though, criticism for that, because you said, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have been playing football, whatever. Maybe you shouldn't be doing anything, but it's still, everything's a game of chance, isn't it? These sort of things can happen. It can just happen. So
could have got injured running, but yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, right. Wow. So literally, so we're leaving school. What we up to next? We going college? We going straight into work, or what we doing?
I did A levels, then went straight into work. I've been in the construction industry for 39 years now. Commercial manager for various construction companies in that time. I've had 2 marriages, 2 divorces, 4 children. Didn't do a lot of exercise in that time. Just life sort of took over. And then we get to probably 2012, going through a particularly bad second divorce. And I was silly enough to, and it was a build-up of a number of things over a number of years. But this sort of feeling of not being quite good enough and having given away an opportunity as a 16-year-old had built up in me over time. And I was daft enough to try and take my own life twice, not quite knowing how to cope with a breakup of a second marriage and all the stresses and strains that brings. Fortunately, I wasn't very good at it. I wouldn't recommend what I tried to do. No. But fortunately, I came out the other side, and it coincided with the 2012 Olympics, which I'd taken no real interest in. I was in a bad way. I'd lost my job. Was back living with mum. And it's all a little bit of a cliche story, really. But you had that Saturday night, I think they called it the Golden Saturday or something like that,
with the long jump, and we had Sir Mo, didn't we, and Jessica, and it's all getting the gold.
Jessica and Greg Rutherford and Mo, yeah. And it was that evening that I actually started taking a bit of notice on what was going on. Mo runs round, I jump out my chair. Go on, Mo, brilliant, fantastic stuff. My mum's sitting next to me. She's reading a copy of the Woman's Own magazine. Or a certain age demographic will understand what I'm talking about there.
Yeah. Doctor's waiting room sort of book, weren't they?
Yeah. And she said to me, she said, it says in this magazine, running's good for your mental health. You should try that. You were quite good when you were a kid. I went, you know what, Mum, I will. And I went out the next day, ran a mile, and haven't stopped since.
Wow. So if we circle back, so obviously it's we jumped in. What are we in? 6-7 minutes into an interview, and it's wow, we're full in here. So you put a lot of it. Obviously, you've had the stress of 2 breakdowns of marriages.
Yeah.
Which within the modern world, there's so many factors that can happen with. But you're putting a lot of that and a lot of the mental health and everything back down to when you was at 16 years old. When you didn't continue the route that almost your destiny, what you thought was planned for you. And so that is still, what sort of time span are we talking from that till then? So 88, did you say?
30 plus years.
Wow. And that is still there playing heavy on your mind.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. See, and that's something that most people don't. People carry around. It's easy to throw around the word baggage, but people carry around these things on past events for a few years, 30 odd years.
Mm.
No wonder it all come to a head at some point. And you had a tough time.
I've done elements of therapy in the past, and one of the analogies I liked, I was given once, was that we're all an onion. We're all covered in layers, and week by week, when you're going through your therapy, week by week, these onion layers come off, and at some point there's a core moment that you'll come across, and everything you've done relates back to that core. And my core was 1986, and it sort of mapped my path going forward after that. Yeah, for many years it did. Yeah.
That is so powerful to hear, and it's quite frightening as well, because you're talking about a big expanse of your life. So do you feel as though those 30 years where you was carrying that and you had that at the back of your mind, when you look back now, do you feel as though those 30 years, not wasted is the wrong words because you've had children, etc., but do you feel as though is that a bit of a blur now? Is that the past? Is it in the past, or is that still part of your body, part of your makeup now?
I wouldn't say it's part of my makeup now. I'm a very different person. A lot of personal reflection, work on myself, help with various mental health charities and the like. No, very, very different person, and we'll come on to joining the FORDYs, but joining the FORDYs has certainly helped that part of my journey as well. But no, there's elements of that 30 years that are a bit of a blur. Yes, I would say they definitely are.
So are we, during the 30 years, if you don't mind me asking, so we've had people on Beneath the Bib, and these trigger moments where mental health has affected their lives and their destiny and their paths, a lot of that's triggered and has come alongside things like alcohol, drugs, and things like that. Was any of that ever the case, or was this just
No.
purely mental health stresses?
I don't mind a pint of Guinness. Never touched a drug in my life.
Yeah.
No, it's never affected me in that way.
Wow, that is. Do you think maybe if you would have got, so did you? How long was it after being a 16-year-old and them events not happening? How long after that was it until you actually got your first sort of set of therapy?
I would say 2012.
So a long time. So the question,
2012. I was silent on it, Hayden, for years. It was,
and that's what I'm trying to get around to. So do you think if you would have had, not even therapy, just that support, that emotional support, someone to talk to about this, going through, like the help you almost like I've had since 2012, if you'd have had that back then, do you think maybe your life would have mapped out completely differently over those 30 years?
It probably would. Yeah, it probably would, because I think you'd reflect on it earlier. The later you leave it, the later we don't speak out and talk about these things, the harder it is to get to the bottom of, really. I mean, when I was daft enough to take my own life, there's an element of, you have to go through certain visits from the hospital, and there's an element of therapy that goes alongside that. That was the start of me needing to really pull myself together. Yeah.
And we are talking about, we're talking almost like it's like a generation where mental health certainly wasn't talked about. It was obviously an issue and it was there underlying, but people didn't recognize it, and it certainly wasn't talked about, and people weren't encouraged, specifically not men, ever encouraged to talk about it. So almost like the odds are always weighted against somebody like yourself who's going through that at the time.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. Wasn't spoken about anywhere near enough at that time, and still not. It's better now, but it's still not.
Yeah. And if you don't mind me touching upon it, because it's really sensitive, it's horrible. The times when you tried to take your life, looking back at those now, was it the only way out? Was the only way to get rid of this sort of pain and everything you had? The only way?
Yeah. I often thought whether it's really brave for someone to take their own life, because if you do it, it's no coming back from that, obviously, or whether it's really cowardly. And only on reflection afterwards, from my point of view, it would have been cowardly, because I've got 4 kids, and a granddaughter now, and I wouldn't have got to know those people in the way that obviously I do now. So yeah, it became a cowardly act for me, but it was one of, I'm just at my absolute lowest and I don't know what to do next.
Wow, powerful stuff, mate. Honestly, and fair play to you to be here now, talking so openly about it. It's absolute. It's fantastic that you're in this place now, and you are. We're going to see some smiles coming up from you soon. I know we are, mate. It's all heavy, I know. So we're talking 2012. You've seen the Olympics. You've been inspired. So you get back into a bit of running.
So I did. Just running around the block, minding my own business, going out every day, loving it. And then end of 2014, so I'd done a couple of halves. I entered the ballot. I think it was 2013, Hayden. I think it was. I entered a ballot for the Royal Parks.
Yeah.
And I got in. I was like, okay, how hard can that be? That was an education. Not trained properly. But yeah, got around fine. And then 2014, my daughter Maisie wasn't very well. She was in Broomfield Hospital up in Chelmsford. And one evening I was sitting chatting with one of the nurses. I said to her, what do you do outside of work? Oh, she said, I'm a runner. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do a bit of that. Thinking, I know what I'm doing. I've run a half, you know. I said, so what sort of distance she's run? Oh, I'll train for marathons. Okay, only double a half. How hard can that be? And I made her a bet that night that if she got my daughter out of hospital by Christmas Eve, I'd do the 2015 Brighton Marathon with her. That was her next one. And they let her out on on Christmas Eve, 2014. So now I've got to sign up for it. No training, turned up with a pair of blue Adidas trainers that I went and bought from Sports Direct. Had no clue what I was doing. Absolutely loved it.
Wow.
And that was it. Just like, this is me now. I'm just gonna learn how to train, and just keep going.
Did you though? Did you absolutely love it? Come on, you're talking about a marathon, your first one. Talk about Brighton in a pair of these blue Adidas. I could picture it in my head. Was it all bells and whistles and loving it? It must have been tough as hell.
Now I absolutely loved it. At the time, it probably was pretty painful. I probably got to 18 miles and started considering life choices. But yeah, I loved it. I love the atmosphere. I love the fact there were loads of people down there. In fact, the one thing I learned on that race was, so not being a runner, I hadn't really considered it, was to have your name on a t-shirt. So at times I do remember feeling a little bit lonely that other people were calling out other people's names. So that I think that's the one takeaway I had from that marathon. And I've always had name on a shirt ever since, because it, you know, as you well know, it's great to have that encouragement. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't really stopped.
So this was Brighton in 2016, did you say?
2015.
2015. So what was sort of, so moving on from 2015 up until, let's go pre-COVID now, where are we running? What sort of distances, events, what are we doing?
So I joined a local running club down in Southend. The Flyers, a couple of people I knew said, come along, join us. So yeah, I joined those. I just as COVID started, 2020, was it 2020? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? 2020, yeah. I got a local online coach, a guy called Paul Whitaker, who's a very good friend of mine now. And at that point, I had a thought that I could possibly run under 4 for a marathon. All my marathons had all been around about the 4:40, coming down to sort of 4:15, but could never quite get under that 4. And at the same time as sort of getting into that, as you've already mentioned, my very dear friend Helen, I've known Helen a long, long time. I used to knock around with her brother when we were kids at school. So Yeah, known her a long time. And I knew about this FORDY group that she was running with in Southend, and she used to nag me, come and join us, come and join us. I'm not so sure. But I was sort of getting to a point with the other club that I was doing a lot of training on my own, because I had this online coach. And I then found out that Helen had the same online coach, and sort of like, do you know what? I'm just going to push myself and join the Southend FORDYs, which I did in 2024. So I've been a FORDY now for 2 years. Yeah.
Wow, it seems a lot longer. that's a compliment as well.
One of the stories I love to tell, Hayden, is that my first FORDY run cost me over 500 quid.
That sounds about right.
And you see, I love telling this story. So I'm running along, minding my own business, meeting these very nice people for the first time, and Helen says to me, "Oh, by the way, in 6 weeks' time, we're off to Paphos for the half. Do you want to join us?" I was like, "Well, don't really know. I'll tell you what. Yeah, send me some details." By the time I'd run home, which was only a mile from our meeting point, she'd emailed me the flight details that she was on, the hotel she's staying in, and the race. And I sat there that Sunday afternoon and signed up. Like, all right, whatever. So yeah, my first FORDY run cost me. I bet you didn't regret it. No, never regret. Loved it. Absolutely met some fantastic people. Become very good friends outside of running. Amazing. You've done enough of the FORDY tours to know what they're about. They're just fantastic events. If anyone gets the opportunity to go, you should definitely do it.
Yeah, because yours was in Lanzarote as well. So yeah, they are fantastic.
I've seen you dance, Hayden. You're as good at dancing as you are at running, my friend.
Was I dancing? Did I drink that much? No, it was good. Yeah, it was good. But no, so we're fully fledged running now. We're running with 40 runs. Things are going really well. What sort of plans you got coming up then? What's the target now of running wise? What are you looking to do? Just to continue for your mental health, or you got a target in mind?
So I managed to get under 4 in 2022.
Fantastic.
And that was it really, just to keep going. And I got to 2025, and I worked out that almost to the day my 20th marathon would be 10 years on from my first.
Wow.
So there have been some years I've done 2, 3, 4. Others, obviously, COVID period, we couldn't run. But yeah, I got to the 2025, and that was going to be my 20th in 10 years. And that, I actually thought at that point it might be my last. It hasn't been, but I thought it might.
We all say that, don't we?
Yeah.
It's going to be a last one. We're getting too old for this, but no, that lure just brings us back in. That's fantastic. I do want to talk a little bit about football, because I've seen pictures of you in Crystal Palace shirt, and I know you support Palace. So I do. A bit of weight. I've seen you in a Southend football shirt.
Yeah.
I've seen you up local to me at Sutton United at a game.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your football loyalties here, Mal. Come on, what's going on?
Okay, so born and bred South London boy, Crystal Palace, just round the corner from the ground. That's my club at heart. But having lived in Southend for many years, from the age of 7, the ground is a mile walk from my house. I've got a lot of pals locally that are Southend supporters. I started going to watch Southend when they got relegated out of the league and nearly lost their place, and I've watched that story of that club sort of almost climbing back out the ashes, and going to some of these away days as a non-league supporter, just so much fun. So much fun. I've done some mad trips, like Gateshead away, where you leave at home at 5 o'clock in the morning and get back at 11 o'clock at night and lose 4-0 in the rain.
Oh.
And it doesn't matter. It's just a laugh with my pals. It's something other than running and work that I really enjoy doing.
We know your loyalties then. Crystal Palace at heart. That's where you belong.
Yeah.
Right, so tonight, this episode is going out live in conjunction with a long run show, because we're going to talk about the connection you yourself have with the long run show, because Chris gets to announce where we get to pull out the names of club runners that are affiliated, and we give away free 4 places for London Marathon each year, dependent on criteria. And not this year, gone the year before. So in 2024, your name was pulled out. You went in the ballot and it was pulled out.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about when you, I don't know if you were listening live or how you found out about it, and what did that feel like? Scary?
So I entered this draw, as you say, it was in 2024 for the 2025 place, and then forgot all about it. I mean, Helen will tell you I'm notoriously forgetful. I'm shocking. I've attempted to book second flights to 40 trips when I've already got one flight in place. I'm that like, I really shouldn't be allowed on my own. So I forgot all about it, and I was indoors and my phone just lit up, and I was getting all these messages from I think it was Paul Bolton was the first one I read. Fantastic, mate, congratulations. Then Helen, then if one is, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. What? So it was Paul that answered me first. He said, "Oh, you need to get on the long show. Have a look on YouTube, and you'll see what I'm. Go through to whatever the time was, and in the program, you'll see what I mean." So none of them actually told me what it was, but that I was to be congratulated on something. So sure enough, I find it. I start looking at it, and they're doing the draw, and I'm looking, look at this thing, going, "Oh no, oh have I?" My name gets pulled out first. And I was like, "Oh, I have." And that was the marathon I was just referring to. That was going to be my 20th in 10 years, which didn't think I was going to get in. I've now got a 40 place.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
Now, what I will say is I was instantly guilty. And I spoke to quite a few people about it, including Chris. And I think this is another... shows the strength of the running group, because I hadn't been with FORDYs very long. I had never volunteered at a FORDY volunteering event. Being really new to the group, I felt really guilty. That some people been there with the group many years, and this new boy walks in and walks off into the sunset with a marathon place under his arm. I was like, I'm not sure I should do this. Is there a way I can give it away? Is there someone more deserving than me? And I think Chris summed it up perfectly when he just said, "Don't be an idiot, it's yours." I'm like, exactly, okay, I'll do it.
It's the same. It's the same thing, I suppose. Someone that plays a lottery every single week after week for 20 years and never win, I'll go along, get a lucky dip and win. I'm not going to give the money back and feel guilty. That's just the way. That's the way it goes, mate. And fair play, it's brilliant. I think we saw you. I was up at the cheer station, and one of my biggest memories of you at London Marathon, you come to cheer station, and fair play, you have to give her a massive shout out. Kim Tobin, that comes up and does the photographs, everything is fantastic. And the picture she captured of you on that day is absolutely gold dust. It's fantastic. What a picture that was. I could see the emotion in your face. That was like, you were just, God, what a moment for you that was.
So there was quite a bit of emotion leading up to that race. I managed to pull my calf in the January, and I gave it a week's rest. I tried to run on it. I gave it another week's rest. I tried to run it, and I lost 2 months. And in the end, someone suggested I went and had acupuncture. If you've never had it and you've got a calf injury, go and get it done, because I was running the next day. The recovery was just incredible. I couldn't believe it. But I literally only had 4 weeks training.
Wow.
And I think if it had been a place I'd paid for myself, I'd have pulled out. But the fact that it was a FORDY secured place, and there's, we got 16,000 members now. I can't not do this thing. I can't not go and run for these people. So, yeah, it was quite emotional. And I come around that corner. The first person I saw was Chloe from Malden. And I actually saw her on Sunday at the, where were we? The Brentwood half. And every time I see her, I give her the same hug as I saw her then. As I gave her then. She was the first person I saw at that cheer station. And you're right, Kim got that picture perfectly. And yeah, it was emotional. It really was. The cheer station's incredible, but for me, it was just about, I'm 18 miles in, I'm almost home. And I watched that actually 4 weeks ago. I wasn't even getting to the start line. So yeah, it was a big moment.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And as you said, no need for you to feel guilty about anything. You're in the ballot, you get the draw. And it's fantastic to see people do it and complete the race. Love it. Let's talk before we finish up a little bit about, let's talk a bit about finding love, because in recent years, you found someone a bit special, haven't you? And that was through running? Ish.
It was. Yeah, I've met Sam, who we've been together just over a year now, and I met her online, and I don't mind saying that. You know, it's quite a common way now to meet people.
Yeah.
Met online on a dating app called Fitness Singles, where you put in your profile of the sort of sports that you do, the age of the person you want to meet, male or female, all those sort of demographic things. And yeah, it matched me with this lady who lives in New Eltham near Greenwich. Was my distance was 40 miles. I never thought New Eltham was that, and it's actually 39.8 from her home to mine. So just about made it. Her profile picture was her at a local park run with her dog. I was like, dream. And yeah, she's I call her my angel. She absolutely is. She understands me really, really well. She understands why I run 6 days a week. She knows why I do it. It's for my head. And I finally feel calm. I've got a calmness in my life. She's encouraged me immensely. I've actually started retraining in the last 12 weeks. I'm retraining as a counsellor.
Fantastic.
So it's my exit strategy from the construction industry I've been in for probably too long. And she's fully encouraged that. Yeah, I'm very lucky.
It's so good to hear. And it's a bit of a recurring theme with Beneath the Bib, that we start these interviews in the early life, and then we have times where people have tough moments, and no one's competing with anyone, but your story and what you went through is, wow, it's at the, well, you've got to be at your absolute very lowest to experience things like that, and it's terrible. But to finish up the way you are now, running marathons, running, helping with your mental health, finding love, just seeing the place you're in now, and seeing how much a part of the community you are, and what you give to the community, and now training to do something to give back as well. It's absolutely fantastic. I've seen a few events you've been at where they're charity based events where you're helping raise awareness and stuff. And
I've done some volunteering for Andy's Man Club, which are a men's mental health charity. I started going there in 2024 when I hit a little bit of a low spell again, and I've done some volunteering with them for a while. But yeah, I'm the happiest I've ever been, the calmest I've ever been, and yeah, it's time to give back to as many as I can. That's the plan.
Absolute gentleman. So if there is someone out there listening to this now, they're listening to this story, Believe to Be, and they're going through like a real tough stage, and they're getting to the point where, a bit like yourself was, where you're feeling there's only one way out. What should they do? Where should they go? Who should they contact? What would a young Malcolm do back in that position now, knowing what you know?
I use the word brave a lot. So be brave. Speak up. Don't bottle it. Find that one go-to person, that one person that you can speak to, that despite the fact you might think you're going to get judged, absolutely will not. And we all have one of those people. We all have a go-to person. It might be wife, partner, mum, dad, brother, sister, best mate, the dog who's barking in the background. Just talk. Just talk. There are lots and lots of resources out there now. Andy's Man Club is one. They're a fantastic men's mental health charity. There are similar charities for ladies you can reach out to. But yeah, I would think be brave, because we can come through the dark days. You just need a little bit of help and guidance to do it.
Well, mate, you're absolute testament to that. To you sitting here now today after what you've been through and the person you are today. So yeah, anyone watching, you listen to Malcolm, you take his advice because he's certainly in a good place. Malcolm, honestly, mate, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. Really, really appreciate your time and your honesty and openness. It's not always easy to talk about things like that, but undoubtedly it will help someone. There's no doubt about that. So honestly, mate, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Loved it. Good to talk to you, Aidan.
Brilliant to talk to you, and enjoy your favourite journeys. There's going to be some more tours abroad. I'm sure we'll catch up on them. No doubt about that.
A bit more dancing.
A few more drinks first. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Beneath the Bib and our wonderful guest, Malcolm, today. If you enjoyed that, make sure you tune back in next Monday where we have another story, an incredible story, as always, about everyday runners as we go beneath the bib. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch up with you all soon. See you later.